Good afternoon, this is Mr. Coleman with your latest video in the series Maths Revision Outside the Classroom. Today's topic is area and circumference of circles. Topic number 8. This is suitable for GCSE, Grade B, and also for Key Stage 3, Level 6 to 8. So years 8 through to 11. Right, let us start then with the necessary formulae. For a start, if we want to find the circumference of the circle, the circumference means the perimeter. It means the distance all the way around the outside of the circle. And that is calculated by doing pi multiplied by the diameter. The diameter of the circle is the distance from one side to the other, passing through the center point. The pi is the relationship between the circumference and the diameter of a circle, and it's approximately 3.142, though it can be calculated to a lot more decimal places than that. In fact, the number goes on forever. That's why we use the symbol pi like this, 2 lines and one on top, rather like one of the trilithons at Stonehenge. So, to calculate the circumference, we multiply the pi, or 3.142, by the diameter. Now, if we want to find the circumference given the radius of the circle, the radius is the distance from the center to the edge. So, in other words, the diameter is twice the radius, because that's the distance all the way across through the center. So if we want to find the circumference given the radius, we first of all double the radius to obtain the diameter, and then yet again we use the formula pi, or 3.142, multiplied by the diameter. Note you can use other approximations for pi, such as 3.14, 22 over 7, or even, if you want a very rough calculation, just 3. But 3.142 is accurate enough for most purposes, or else use the pi button on your calculator. If you are asked to give an answer in terms of pi, you simply multiply pi by diameter and write the answer, say, as 10 pi if the diameter is 10, or 7 pi if the diameter is 7. Or even 2.5 pi if the diameter is 2.5. Similarly, if you're given the radius and told that the radius is 8, then the diameter would be 16 and the circumference would be 16 pi. Now let's move on to the area of a circle. Now the area is given by the formula pi multiplied by radius squared. And when you square something, you don't multiply it by 2, you multiply it by itself. Square means multiply by itself. So you start by multiplying the radius by itself, and then you multiply by the pi. For instance, if a circle has radius 4, and we want the area in terms of pi, we start by squaring the 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 pi is our area. If we are given the diameter, then we first need to obtain the radius. We know that the radius is the distance from the center to the edge, so it's half the diameter. So we divide the diameter by 2, and then use the formula pi times radius squared once again. So if the diameter was 10 centimeters, the radius would be 10 divided by 2 is 5 centimeters, and the area would be 5 squared, which is 25, times pi. Suppose we have a semicircle instead of a full circle. A semicircle is half a circle. So to obtain the perimeter of the semicircle, we would take the circumference of the whole circle, which is pi times diameter, and divide it by 2 to get the circular part of the semicircle. We then, of course, would have to add the straight edge along the bottom, which is, of course, the diameter. So therefore, the perimeter of the semicircle would be pi times diameter divided by 2 plus the diameter. The area of a semicircle is simply half the area of a whole circle. So it would be pi times the square of the radius divided by 2. If we wanted to work out other fractions of a circle, we could do similarly. For instance, for a quarter of a circle, to find the perimeter, we would do pi times diameter and divide it by 4 to get the circular part. Then we'd add the 2 radii, which make up 1 diameter, to get the total perimeter as being pi d divided by 4 plus d. To get the area of a quarter circle, we just do pi r squared divided by 4. Now, suppose we were given the circumference and required the diameter. We would simply rearrange the formula and do the circumference divided by pi equals the diameter. If we then wanted the radius, we could divide the diameter by 2. So to get the radius of a circle, given the circumference, you do the circumference divided by pi and then divide it by 2. If we want the radius given the area, we would need to do the circumference divided by pi to get the radius squared, and then we would have to square root to obtain the area. So to obtain the radius, of course. So to obtain the radius from the area, you do the circumference divided by pi, and then you would square root the answer. That gives you the radius. If we wish to find the diameter, we would first work out the radius, and then we would double it to find the diameter. So circumference divided by pi, then square root, and then times 2 gives you the diameter. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. Now's the time to go and practice some questions on areas and circumferences of circles. Until the next time, it's goodbye.